Hello, fellow Americans. This is Doug Leatherbury for the New American Democratic Party, LLC, a not-for-profit corporation dedicated to rebuilding the National Democratic Party and the National Republican Party. Both have been in disarray for approximately the last 100 years. Please like and share this video to all your friends and colleagues. I'd like to spread this around, all around the United States and hopefully the rest of the world of pro-Americans. This is very urgent, I think, because we only have a few months, perhaps the latest, a couple of years, to save our country. I have in the past called these videos Video 1, Video 2, etc. But I was watching Joe Lewis in one of his defenses of his title not long ago, and it occurred to me that maybe I should call my videos rounds rather than videos. Rounds, because we're fighting just like Joe Lewis did for the American liberty. When George Washington gave his farewell address in 1797, he set out a foreign policy, also a domestic policy, for the United States of America. His vision was that we should not entangle the United States in foreign affairs. We shouldn't get in big mutual agreements with other countries and other groups of nations. We should maintain our independence, our sovereignty, because we had a unique mission in the world. Our mission was to secure life and liberty for everyone, equality of justice for everyone. And we kept that policy. When George Washington left office, that policy was continued for the next 100 years. And it should have been continued to now. As we know, the global oligarchs in Europe, they loved war. The elitists of Europe, they didn't fight in the war, except maybe as a general, but they loved war. They loved to send their citizens to war and fight over boundaries and who knows what. George Washington recognized that, and he recognized we should not get in those kind of wars. But President Wilson, he was probably the first global oligarch who gained a lot of power in the United States. And he conceived, and with others, the League of Nations, which eventually became the United Nations. And he got us into all kinds of entanglements with Europe, which has spread out now over all of the world. I think we have troops now in over 100 countries around the world. Think of that. We are spending billions and billions and billions of American treasure every year on warfare, on creating our military. And every year we get weaker, democracy gets weaker, the life and liberty of our people gets weaker. And the life and liberty around the world gets weaker. We need to restore our fundamental principles. We need to restore the blessings that our founding fathers and God gave our nation. We had two great presidents not long ago, Presidents Kennedy and Nixon. They were pro-Americans to the bone. They fought in the Second World War. They were dedicated Americans. And they wanted peace in the world, and they wanted to keep the United States out of war. They wanted the best economy we could have. Well, we know what happened to them. President Kennedy was killed. President Johnson was forced not to run for a second term. And a coup d'etat was executed against President Nixon. All three of those great presidents were removed from office. And the global oligarchs and the Soviets, communists, and the Islamic Jihad, who control the world today and have infiltrated the United States, have dictated our policy. When we go on TV today, we hear Americans did this, Americans did that, Americans want war, Americans... No, it's not the Americans who want all of these wars. It is the leaders that have infiltrated our government that want these things. As an example, right now, we have a Congress that is completely infiltrated by the dinos, Democrats in name only. I cannot think of a single Democrat in the House of Representatives or the United States Senate today. And of course, until recently, the rhinos, the Republicans in name only, controlled the other side of the House and the other side of the U.S. Senate. And they've controlled that from the time Gerald Ford was installed in office until Obama and now Biden. It was only the 4 years of Trump that all this was exposed for all the United States and the rest of the world. Didn't have to be exposed to me because I fairly well knew it from the time that President Kennedy was killed under the president. I've been trying to watch these kind of things. These false leaders who infiltrated our government have pushed us into perpetual war. And now the war, the United States has been pushed into the First World War, which should not have happened, the Second World War, which should not have happened, the Korean War, the Vietnamese War, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and now the Ukraine. Perpetual war for the United States. We've got to get this stopped. And the way we must do it is to retake control of the United States with true Republicans and true Democrats. We must restore the two-party system. We can do that, but we only have a short time. I thought for long, maybe it's not possible to regain this, but President Trump, to his credit, he showed us in the 4 years that he was in office how much progress we could make in that regard. We now have a vivid picture of what President Trump did for our country, and we have a vivid picture of what we can do in the future if we get leadership elected in office. We do have two great leaders now who have stepped forward. President Trump running for re-election as President of the United States, President Robert Kennedy, who will be a great leader for the Democratic Party. If these two men receive their nominations, the respected nominations of the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, the United States will be assured of having a great leader who believes in the principles of America. We can be grateful to God that these two great men have brought to the fore for us. I ask all Americans to come together now. We are not a divided nation. We hear in the news that, oh, we're a divided nation. No. Virtually all Americans believe in the principles of America. They believe in the Constitution. They believe in the Bill of Rights, all the rights that Americans should have and enjoy so that they can have the best life possible for each American and get in the profession they want or the business they want. They have entrepreneurship, invest their money the way they want to, maybe just stay on the beach and enjoy themselves. Whatever they want to do it without the government interfering in their lives. One of the candidates for president who was on the debate couple of days ago, said that we should reduce our government budget by 75%. And that could be very true. I've always said 50 to 60%, so he may know something that I don't know, but certainly we need to get our taxes down, our government expenses down, so that this money will not be wasted as it is now, and leave it in the hands of Americans who can invest it wisely and build up their own life for their own freedom and their own liberty and their own family. That's what we want. That's what America was built for. And if we set this example for the rest of the world that the Founding Fathers wanted us to do, you know what can happen? What so much of the world wants. They want to be free. People are born to be free. They know that instinctively. But after they've been indoctrinated with these controlling governments, they forget that they were born free. We can get this back again. All of the world can be born free and can become free. And we can set the example for that. That's the best thing we can do. We can't achieve freedom for other countries. That cannot be done. Everybody has to get their own freedom. We have to fight for it, just like our Founding Fathers did. We have to fight for our own freedom. That's all we can do. But we can set the example for the rest of the world so they can fight for their own freedom. And they will, if they understand that they are born free and have that right to do that. Please like and share this video. Let's get the message out all across the United States and hopefully all across the world where pro-Americans are waiting to hear the message. This is Doug Leatherbury for the New American Democratic Party, LLC, a not-for-profit corporation, doing business as the New American Democratic Republic, LLC. Thank you very much. I will be back for more messages very soon. Thank you.